One big goal during the beginning stages of my healing journey was to learn how to regulate my emotions. Depending on your childhood trauma, you may have developed a negative emotional attachment style. You seriously need to identify how your old forced upon trauma shows up in your daily habits. Yes, you do. This can reveal why you keep repeating the same scenarios over and over and over again, and why you're so reactive. You know, that whole reactiveness is your key indicator that you still have further healing to do, more in-depth healing to do. But sis, let's get into this one. Are you ready to change your story? Chances are you're stuck in an endless loop of a story that no longer serves you. It's time to embrace the new love story of you. I'm a mother and an entrepreneur. There's a chance that you are too. If you're ready to go on this journey of elevation with me while embracing the love story of you, your goals, doubts, fears, and desires, well, I'm here for it. Go grab your tea, your wine, your water, or whatever. Now it's time for you to be Confidence on Stilettos. Hey, Boss Beauties, it's your host, Laketta, and this topic right here, honey, is a sensitive one. So this will be a serious one. I mean, come on, all my other podcasts are serious, but I'm like really, really serious right now because there is such a thing as regulating your emotions. And a lot of times we can't even identify that we're not operating in a place of control over our emotions because we are being reactive, right? So yes, this is a sensitive topic for me. And so therefore, this is really serious. Now, it did take me most of my young adult life to learn first that life happens to everyone. That I think that is like such a biggie because when you're young, and I like to call myself sometimes when I was young and in my young and dumb season, you just feel like what is happening to you at that very moment, that is it, honey. That is it. Okay? And you just react in such a horrible way because again, it just depends on too your upbringing and the things that you saw around you of how your parents reacted to things and that plays a huge part in everything, like your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with the people around you, your relationship with your friends. All of that plays a huge part. So yes, honey, when the younger Keita, I just thought like this is it. Like I need to get them right now. Like don't no. We're not gonna wait till tomorrow. We're not even gonna wait to 5 minutes from now. We're gonna get them right now. That's how the younger version of Kiki behaved. Period. And then two, like just stop being reactive, right? The reason why I say stop being reactive because let's just face it, some people just want to press every damn button. You have to get a reaction out of you. And then why give them what they want? You know, it makes you, seem out of sorts. Like somebody far away looking at maybe a scene playing out. Nobody far away knows like that this person just tried you, right? So therefore, far away, it looks like you're hostile, you know you're the aggressive one. So don't let people press your buttons. That's why it's very important that you learn how to regulate your emotions. I remember, honey, people used to always say something about my weight. Y'all, this was a big one for me. The Lord himself had to come down and say, Keita, don't do that. And don't say it no more. I don't care what they done said to you. Don't do that no more. But I kept doing it because I was just so reactive. But it was this thing about my weight, right? It just seemed like when I was skinny, people had something to say. Then when I gained a little weight, they still had something to say. So as soon as they would hit me with the girl, you skinny. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to y'all right now. I'm like, oh, you fat. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I used to do that. Don't do that, y'all. That was the unhealed version of keto. Do not do that. But also, I'm going to say this before I move on. It's not okay to walk up to anyone and say, oh, girl, you skinny. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know if, they're battling an illness. You don't know. So just because you got a little weight on you, don't mean you get to say whatever you want to say to someone that's skinny. It's not okay. It is not okay because you do not know what people's struggles are. And then you want to get mad if somebody come back with a rebuttal. You asked for it. You planted a seed and you reap that baby right away. From me back in the day. I'm just saying, let me move on from that, girl, because that done touched the nerve already. Okay? So don't be mad. I'm just saying, don't be mad with the rebuttal. Again, I gotta say this. I know it was wrong. Please don't do it. But at the same time, it was a trigger for me. Yes, ma'am. It very much so was a trigger for me. It was... because I just heard it so much to the point that it started giving me a complex, like even, going into my adult life, because I used to hear it a lot when I was, of course, a child. And then people used to always continue to say it to me as an adult as well. And then when I started having kids and I picked up weight, it was like, oh, girl, oh, look at you. You done gained some weight. So now... here it is. I'm like, I can't please. You just can't please people. And I had to come to that realization that I won't be able to please everybody. And the one thing that I want to say, I would say to my younger self, and I would say to people who just walk up to people and say whatever they want to say and don't have any regard of what anybody is going through. Be kind and shut up, because ain't nobody asked you not a damn thing, okay? So as you mature, you learn how to regulate your emotions. You know what? Let me take that statement back and say you should learn to regulate your emotions, because some older individuals are more reactive than the younger generation nowadays. Regulating your emotions is the ability to recognize, manage, and respond to the emotion. There's emotions tied to when your scarcity mindset is triggered, when you get angry and bothered, when you feel rejected, neglected, and ignored. There are a myriad of reasons your emotions, good or bad, gets activated. These are your triggers. You have got to learn your triggers, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening. Your triggers are very, very important. They become a valid piece of your story. And sometimes those triggers identify your traumas. And those are pieces and starting points to your healing. So, learn your triggers. I can't stress this enough. Y'all hear me say it almost on every podcast. Keep a journal with you at all times. There were times when I was going through my healing process, especially at the very beginning, and I was so triggered about like a lot of things that I would keep my journal very, very close by. So whenever I felt like anxiety or like I'm about to snap on these people, I would write what I'm going through, why that was triggered, and I would work through it. You know, you have got to learn how to stop, pause, breathe, and address that emotion. We so often talk about regulating negative emotions, but sometimes I need to regulate my emotions when I'm experiencing high vibrating frequencies. Because lately, after you go through your healing, your emotions start to change. And sometimes for me, I'm so freaking excited that I need to I need to calm down. Okay. I need to bring it down a notch. Okay. Just a little bit. So sometimes I get filled with joy that I just need to calm down, like unexplainable joy, guys. That is like one of my affirmations. I say it every day. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have unexplainable joy. And baby, I be having unexplainable joy. And see, I operate at 100% when I'm more in my calm atmosphere. So when I'm overstimulated with amazing joy, that amazing joy feeling, I be all over the place, y'all. I just be all over the place because I just be so happy. Okay. We all have emotional intelligence, and it's a muscle that must be built over time. Your emotional intelligence developed at a very, very young age. And our parents started us on this journey of how we would regulate those emotions. Unfortunately, we had no say so at this particular time, but you have control now. So, as younger versions of ourselves, when we were kids, our parents would regulate our emotions. When we were babies and we would cry, our parents knew how to regulate our emotions. When we became toddlers, our parents showed us how to regulate our emotions. Then, of course, when you get into your adolescent years and your teen years, and just depending on how your parents regulated your emotions, your parents could have, of course, they're probably learning how to regulate their emotions by just generation to generation, it's getting passed down and passed down and passed down. But unfortunately, sometimes our parents, the way that they regulated our emotions would be reactive themselves. So therefore, if they're reactive themselves and they're reacting in a negative way, that's being downloaded in you. So whenever you have a moment where you need to try and like stay level headed, you spaz the hell out. But even though you may be in that season, you can always correct it. And that's why, whenever I'm going through something, I've learned to get silent, breathe, and process what's going on. So if you're in a season where you're just now learning that you need to regulate your emotions, keep a journal with you. Keep a journal with you. And when you feel those moments of that you get triggered, write it down. Write down the trigger. Because the sooner you identify the triggers, the sooner you can regulate the emotions that's attached to the trigger. And that's what you want to do. You want to be able to know your triggers, and you want to be able to regulate and identify what's attached to that trigger so you can regulate it. Because you don't want to give that power to anyone else. And you always, always, always want to be emotionally mature. It takes time. It's a muscle that must be built. Again, you're talking to somebody that was very reactive, very defensive, all of that. But you get to a point in your life where you just don't want to be that anymore. You don't want to give anyone that power over you. And you too want to feel better about yourself. You want to feel, more elevated, more healed. Like you truly want to be healed. Like you don't want to feel healed. You want to be healed. So the important thing about regulating your emotions is finding out the triggers and then the emotions and what's attached to the trigger. I keep saying the trigger and what's attached to the trigger because every trigger has an attachment and it may have several attachments. So for instance, you may get angry whenever you hear an ex name. Identify it. Why does it still bother you? What parts of that do you need to heal from? Speaking of exes, you would more than likely never get an apology. So move on. Don't let it trigger you. Try your best. And I'm not gonna say don't let it trigger you because everyone has their own journey. But try your best to identify why it triggers you. A trigger may be someone overstepping a boundary. Like for me, for instance, going back to what I was telling you guys about my weight, people saying something about my weight, that used to be a real big trigger for me. Like, I don't care who you were. You was getting it, honey, if you said something about my weight. But now, when people say something like, because I still fluctuate throughout my weight, but I typically stay between like a certain range in my weight that is really not noticeable, but people still find something to say like, oh, yeah, you heavier than you used to be. I just say, okay. I guess you needed to say that. But like you just have to let people be people, okay? So that's just basically what I wanted to come on here and say. I just wanted to, just remind you that we all are going through seasons in our lives. And one of the main ways to get from season to season, elevation to elevation, is by identifying your, or learning how to recognize, to regulate your emotions. And it's important, especially as you're of course you're growing personally, and then especially you as a business owner, you have to learn how to regulate those emotions, because people in business is always going to, not intentionally press a button, but they could intentionally embark on that button. So I just really wanted to take a moment and just really address that. So I know that you are going to be very cognizant about that now. So if you don't have any journals, don't forget, Confidence on Stilettos do have journals that, you can put inside your purse. Right now, the journals are they're very purse friendly. So you can put them in your purse, carry them on the go with you, to write down your thoughts, to write down your triggers. You can purchase them from www.confidenceonstilettos.com. Go to the shop and they're there. And again, don't forget to get your Confidence on Stilettos merch. If you have not done so already, don't forget to rate the podcast so that it can be shared out and to other people, and share it out with your family and friends. Also, girl, did you follow me on the social media? If you haven't done so, I am on Instagram under confidence_on_stilettos. On Facebook, it's Confidence on Stilettos. And yeah, we do, like I said, we have a website now. So don't forget to sign up on the email list to download your You Pressure Girl workbook. And it's basically a workbook to help you organize your goals. And that way you can start conquering your short-term goals, and then moving on to your long-term goals. Just wanted to have something there for you to go ahead and get started and conquer, create them goals and crush them, honey. So until next time, hunty. I'm going to talk to you. I'll holler at you. Oh, don't forget, y'all. I'm on a YouTube too. So go check me out on YouTube. Confidence on Stilettos with Laketta. So until next time, my beautiful boss beauties, I will chat with you later.